Hey guys, so we're T-minus about probably 12 hours or so till we start seeding in the greenhouse for the year. I should say our greenhouse for the year. We've started onions and our early high tunnel peppers in a farm's greenhouse in Whately actually each season, because they do a lot of perennial crops and herbs, and they start things probably in January at some point. So we seeded those probably about 2 weeks ago now. And we're in the first week of March, and we're gonna start seeding our first seedlings of the year, and that's gonna be onions. So yeah, we are doing our typical greenhouse checks, cleanups, prep, if you will, before we really get the greenhouse going for the season. And I just wanted to talk about those couple things that we do each season just to make sure the greenhouse is functional and ready to go. One cool thing is that we are operating the greenhouse as like a pack house throughout the year. So we are using some functions of the greenhouse, like some of the fans and the heaters, pretty consistently, which is good because it keeps things moving, keeps the heaters running, and when things sit, it's not a great thing. So yeah. We are using the other half of the greenhouse for packing in the winter because we don't have a 4-season pack house, and it was a cold winter, and so we kind of turned the greenhouse into a pack house area, and it works quite well. The dilemma we run into this time of year is it's still too cold out to pack outside and the greenhouse starts. So pretty much what we're doing right now is we're prepping one half of the greenhouse, which you can see right here. We're getting this all ready to start seeding tomorrow, and then we're still going to use the other side of the greenhouse, and we're kind of just going to shrink that down until we run out of room to pack, and we're going to have to kick ourselves out regardless. So it's what we have, it's what we deal with, and we make it work just fine. Yeah, but anyway, so the things we're doing in here, a couple big things is, one, we're making sure all the fans are working, bearings aren't blown, nothing's catching on fire, etc. The heaters, we are blowing out. We are blowing out the vents. We are making sure there's not a lot of debris in there. We are cleaning any char out of there. We're making sure the igniter's working, the blowers are working, and we're running them. We're running them at temp based off the thermometer, and making sure everything's up to par with when they need to turn on and kick off. So I like to do those checks. The other things we're doing is our louver vents back here, which are also set up on our fans, which are hard to see. They look the same back there. Those are run on the same system. They are all run on a thermostat. They're all run on different thermostats. We have 3 thermostats, one for the louvers, one for one of our fans, and then we have one for the other fan to kick on at different temperatures. So we're turning those on just to make sure things are opening and closing, make sure the fans are kicking on. And then I've got this cool thing in our greenhouse that I really like. It's a little bit of an investment, but this is a Toro sensor here, and they sell a lot of different ones. This is the Tempest program. This is an Ag MS, it's called, and this does a lot of different functions, but what we're using it in the greenhouse to do is monitor temperature in the greenhouse. You can set it up to monitor like humidity and so forth. We don't have a big problem with humidity in the greenhouse because it's very well ventilated. But the nice thing about this is that this goes off our Wi-Fi, and I can figure out the temperature in the greenhouse anytime of the day, anytime of the night. I can set alerts to it. If one of the heaters goes out for some reason at night, this will tell me that it's getting below 50 degrees and we've got a problem. But I like to use this while we're testing things because I can pull up data and be like, okay, it's about 82 degrees in here. The ventilation fan has kicked on. It's supposed to kick on around 80. The louvers kick on around 72 to 75, making sure that's working. Watching the fan turn on, seeing if it's bringing that temperature down. So those are cool things. And same thing with the heat. We can monitor the heat in here. Are we hitting that minimal 55 degrees, or are we getting up to like 60, 65? Do we need to tone down those thermostats? And these things are really, I mean, these are your pretty standard thermostat in a greenhouse structure. They're all analog, you know, there's a dial there. They're not perfect. They're all running off the solenoids and these springs underneath. So you kind of got to set them to what you need based off that. It might not be exactly on the numbers. So anyways, I like to do that at least like 2 days before the greenhouse is in operation at least. That way we know if there are any issues, we can jump on them and get them fixed. And we go from there. The other big thing that we do every year is sanitize as much as we can. So the big thing I'm doing today is we're clearing off these tables. They were filled with trays all season, so they weren't sitting next to the greenhouse or on the ground getting all cruddy and yucky. But we are sanitizing them, and we use a Sanidate 5.0 and a bleach concoction to sanitize our benches. Sanitizing wood is not the easiest thing to do just because it's wood. It has a million pores in it, and getting liquid in there to really kill anything isn't easy. So we try to sanitize them at least once or twice a season. That way we can ensure in good faith that we are doing something to help keep them clean. And knock on wood, we haven't had a lot of issue of disease or pest pressure too bad in the greenhouse in the past couple of years since we've gotten it fired up and running. So those are the little things we're doing. The last big thing we're doing is we're cleaning the floors. I like to get as much debris off the floors, old dirt, weeds, etc. off the floor, just because that can hold or harbor disease, pests, insects. So we want to start with as clean of a slate as possible. The nice thing is that our tables are pretty tall off the ground. They're probably about 2.5 feet. So we get a lot of good airflow. The plants, the trays themselves aren't very close to the ground, so there is less of a chance of any contaminants coming up to the tray. But we like to do as much as we can. The fans are blowing around, the heaters are blowing things around. Something can get picked up and fly onto a plant, if you will. And we want to prevent that as much as we can. So yeah, I'm finishing up sanitizing this bench top tonight. So the solution can really sit there and not dry out immediately, and kind of sink into those pores and kill as much as possible. So the one thing I'm going to do before that is actually take a leaf blower and blow off any residue of dirt or debris on top of the tables from last season, so we can ensure that we're starting with as clean of a surface as possible. Anyways, I'm gonna get going on that before the sun goes down and before it gets too cold, because for some reason winter is still here, and yeah, it's gonna get dark soon as well. So anyways, let's get this cleaned and we'll see you on the next video.